Are there any Latin Americans tonight? Right? So I will not be getting into why Peru and this bird share the same. So I'll stick to the subject of Turkey. And of course, I'll be talking Turkey, basically suddenly and without preparation. I did make some preparations. I hope I'll pull through. Turkey entered into our vocabulary in many, many formats, not only in talking Turkey, but we say cold turkey. For example, a drug addict who's having withdrawals and he's feeling cold and having goosebumps. So this is kind of in your mind, imagine that. And a turkey flop, a Broadway industry word that came through saying that if a production is stupid so it fails, they call that it's a turkey. So we will talk about whether turkey is truly stupid or not. And then there's the turkey shoot. During the Second World War, they used to tie turkeys to poles, and since they are darting their heads all the time, they use them for sharpshooting practice, so that's where we get the word, turkey shoot. And there's even a turkey trot, some kind of a dance when people are, acting and dancing in a certain special way, in a jerky fashion. Of course, we used to have a turkey corn, which in Turkey they call it Mısır, like Egypt. But at that time, everything was called a corn. Everything grainy was called a corn. And that's why, because of this, we call a corned beef, because we use grains of salt to treat it. So, and eventually the turkey corn expression or turkey wheat expression in England was kept on for a while, then they dropped it and they started calling it just corn. Now, of course, prior to that, we see the significance of Turkey in a novel written by Ernest Hemingway in 1929, A Farewell to Arms. Even though the name of this novel comes from a 16th century poem, I think experience of the hero of the book comes from, similarly like Hemingway, who spent the Great War as a newspaper correspondent in Istanbul. So when somebody questioned him about whether Turkey will enter the war in a certain fashion, he said, of course, Turkey is our holy bird. Now, of course, Turkey and American relations are very, very important. And let's come to the holiness of this very native American bird. The Aztecs, they had manifestations of this bird to their trickster god, and they had two festivals assigned to the bird. And not only that, Benjamin Franklin's choice for a national bird was turkey, because he felt this is a native bird, it's very industrious, and someone suggested to Benjamin Franklin, says, what about an eagle? And he said, well, the eagle is very stupid. Not only that, they couldn't find the kind of eagle they wanted to have an emblem or a national bird. The bald eagle actually it comes from Canada, so they grabbed the bald eagle, made it to represent the United States. So Canadians are left with no other animals to represent themselves, so they picked up beaver, but it's not a very scary animal, so that's why their armed forces are used for peaceful purposes. So not only the Aztecs, because Aztecs had a smaller bird, and eventually they were able to get the larger wild bird, but also Turkey had a very important function in the myth and mythology of the North American Indian. They equated it with Earth Mother, and they also believed that their shamans, because turkey being a very friendly bird, their shamans would change into the shape of a turkey to see what is going on, and so they would come and walk around the tribesmen. And also in a Hopi legend, they believe that the turkey is responsible for grabbing the sun and making it go up. So this is a very industrial animal. Now, of course, domestic turkeys, they are the white-tipped descendants of the Mexican turkey, and they were domesticated and they were introduced to Europe on the 16th century. Now, in those days, they introduced another North American bird, which is the Muscovy duck. So not only for turkey, for Muscovy duck, they tried to create some sort of exotic origin for these birds. So in a way, they coincided the existence of Turkey to the country Turkey, and the duck to to Moscow. I mean, they even they tried to name a tuber a Jerusalem artichoke, which is nothing to do with Jerusalem, of course we know. Now, the Spanish they brought to Turkeys from America, and also the Charles V, the King of Spain, was so impressed with this new bird that it was part of the rule of the sea navigation that apart from the gold and silver they're bringing from North America, they would have a minimum of 10 turkeys in each shipment. Of course, they understood the connection of the bird and the royalty of the Aztecs, but they also wanted to replace the peacock at their banquets. And coming from, of course, North America, this new bird was super, neo, and jumbo. And also, quickly in England, like William Strickland, the navigator who came to North America with the other Venetian navigator Cabot, they introduced the turkey to England, and even the king bestowed upon him a crest made up of a turkey cock in his pride proper. And not only that, in his own Boynton church, he had a carved turkey for the lectern instead of the usual eagle holding the Bible. So it was introduced again, and mistakenly thought that it was similar to an earlier bird that was brought into England from Madagascar, the guinea fowl, and this trade was carried out by British merchants who were called turkey merchants. And that's the other connection of how they sort of mistakenly connected the bird to Turkey. But of course, the Turk called this bird a Hindi, which is like of India. But I think this is because the French thought that this is coming from the land of India that was discovered by Columbus. So they called it a coq-dend, and eventually today it is still called a dindon in French, which is a rooster of India. And the Turks call it Hindi because of this, because of their French affinity. Turkey is a very interesting animal, even though they have no outside ears. He has a very acute sense of hearing. He knows what is going on. His visual sight is like 270 degrees. He detects almost every movement within about 100 yards. And they have actually a very bad taste for smell, but their taste senses are impeccable. And we enjoy this native bird almost in every state. They raise them in all states, save Alaska, even in Hawaii, and all the way to New Zealand. It's not a state yet, but it's okay. But only male turkeys display this, bare head, wattle, and iridescent plumage. And they gobble, and you can hear them about from a mile. So it's a very strong gobble. For people who are metric, it's about 1.5 kilometers. They usually, of course, in nature, they live for about 10 years, but domesticated turkey doesn't have a life that is that long. But also in their wild life, they fight for the dominance of the attention of other female turkeys, and they form a harem. Maybe that's another Turkish connection to this bird. So they have a very large vocabulary compared to birds. They recognize the other birds. They have about 20 very distinct way of making the sound. These vocalizations are very unique. But again, gobbling is only for the male turkey. The female turkey clicks, probably checking her Facebook account. Now, as I said, they were very social animals. And they said if you throw them an apple, they wouldn't grab it and eat it. They pick up a small game of soccer. So maybe that's another connection. They're very social. They start playing with this apple. This is truly observed very scientifically. I'm quoting from a scientific source. And they're very affectionate and a friendly animal. This was quickly discovered by the pioneers. And because of this curiosity, they will come very close to them. And pioneers said, it really hurts us, but we can even shoot them with a hand pistol. They come so close. And their curiosity was met with a bang. Now, the turkey is generally, the bare skin on the throat and the head is gray, but when he gets excited or distressed, it turns to red. I don't know, you can equate it to Turks, because Turks are usually very calm people. It is very difficult to get them angry, but if in that rare occasion, if you get them angry, stay away. Now, contrary to popular belief, the turkeys would fly, but of course the domesticated one is almost twice the size of a wild turkey, and they are, because of this public wish to have larger and larger breasts, they can no longer stand on their 2 feet. We're not talking about second page in British newspapers. But because of this, they have to be artificially inseminated. So the domesticated turkey, just like maybe the Turkish family, it is very difficult to get the approval of the female turkey. Now, one other curious thing is, as you know, the largest brand of turkeys is the Butterball turkey. And this corporation, the Swift Corporation, for some obscure reason, also owned at one time the Playtex bra. Now, they finally get rid of them because they couldn't take the joke. Now, we do have also 2 occasions like Aztecs, and in England they used to have boar and goose for these times in Christmas. But in North America, turkey is used not only for Christmas, but in the coming days of Thanksgiving, which had a religious start, but now it is a very secular celebration with this kind of background story of the harsh winter in Plymouth, Massachusetts, and the relationship with the American Indian. But I think what happened there was, like other European immigrants, they had the goose or the occasional boar the first year, but the second year, the goose said it wasn't us. It was them, the turkeys. So that's how the switch happened. So maybe that's another quality of the turkey. Just like the Turks, for their friends, they're willing to put their head on the line. Thank you.